At the ranch, Adam looks out the door as Nikki tells Victor the ambulance will be there soon. Victoria tells her father to keep his eyes open as he tries to go to sleep. His eyes roll up in his head as she says, "Look at Mom." Victor tells Nikki, "You're so beautiful." At Sharon's place, Maria looks out the window, frantic, and flashes to her argument with Tessa, which ended with her saying, "I can't believe you'd do this to me." Sharon urges Maria not to think the worst. Maria is trying, but Tessa and Aria have been gone all night. She's sure Ian has them. Sharon hopes Tessa's just blowing off some steam after their fight. Maria knows Tessa. She wouldn't take the baby without letting her know. She understands that her mother is trying to make her feel better, but they need to face reality. "That lunatic has taken my family." Sharon says if Ian's goal is to win her sympathy, he wouldn't harm Tessa or Aria. Maria says he has a hair-trigger temper, and she provoked him at society. He's probably given up hope of a relationship with her, and is just taking her family to hurt her in the worst way imaginable. Sharon reminds her that Tessa is smart and strong. Maria knows Ian is capable of hurting a child. She is living proof of that. He has no conscience and no soul, and Aria is just so little. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. Maria panics, thinking it's the police with bad news. Sharon opens the door, and Tessa is standing there with the baby. Maria rushes over and gasps, I'm so sorry, as she embraces her. At the ranch, Nick tells Ian to stay put. An ambulance is on the way. Ian knows he's hoping he'll die before it gets there. He urges him to use the gun and finish him. You'd rather watch me die slowly and painfully. Nick says it wouldn't come close to the pain he's caused others, so it sounds pretty cool to him. At Sharon's place, Maria tells Aria she missed her so much. She worries they should take her to the hospital. Tessa thinks she's fine. Maria wants to call the police and update them. Tessa didn't realize how worried she was. Maria says she was just gone. What would you have done? Tessa admits she'd have done the same thing. Sharon asks what happened to her. Maria blurts, "Did Ian take you?" Tessa says no. Maria asks if she was really that angry with her. Tessa denies it. She shouldn't have asked her to forgive Ian. Maria's just glad they're home and safe. Tessa didn't want to stress her out. Sharon asks what happened last night. Tessa says whatever could go wrong did go wrong. She explains that after the argument in society, she felt terrible when she got home. Aria woke up and she couldn't soothe her, so she took her for a drive. Sharon asks, "In this weather?" She asks if the car broke down. Tessa didn't check to see if the car was charged, and it ran out of juice. She pulled over and her phone was dead. There she was on the side of the road with no way to contact Maria. It gave her time to realize what an idiot she'd been. "I'm so sorry." Maria pulls her into a hug. Hey everyone, welcome back to Radiant Serum. I'm Aubrey, and I hope your day is shining bright. Thank you for joining me. Let's jump right into today's video. At the ranch, Adam asks Michael, how should we handle this? Michael says Victor will be OK as long as the family all sticks to the narrative that Ian got the security guard's gun and shot Victor. He then saved the day. It's the truth, Michael marvels. The man never ceases to amaze me. Nearby, Claire tells Victoria she's worried about Grandpa. Victoria says he's very tough. Claire wonders how people like Jordan and Ian get like that, having no qualms about killing other people. How does that happen? Victoria doesn't know. She's just glad there's enough of the other kind of people out there, like your grandpa. In the living room, Victor summons up the energy to taunt Ian and tell him that he'll rot in hell. Ian says, "Of that I have no doubt." He then passes out. Nikki urges Victor to hang on. At Sharon's place, she asks how Tessa got home. Tessa says it was too cold to walk, so she had to wait. Finally, Abby found them, of all people. She was driving by and recognized her car. She had left her phone at society, so she still had no way to call Maria. Suddenly, they hear sirens. Sharon stands up and says they're headed their way. Tessa learns Jordan is dead, and there's a lot she doesn't know. Sharon thinks the sirens are headed to the main house. Mariah gawps, what else could happen tonight? At the ranch, Chance hopes there's a good explanation for all of this. Adam says right now they're concerned about his father. The paramedic says Victor will be okay, but needs surgery. Victor refuses to go on a gurney. As they walk him out, he passes Ian, who is strapped to a gurney with his eyes shut. Victor tells Michael he appreciates him sticking around. I'll never forget it. Nikki walks over to Ian and muses. Well, here we are, for the last time. Your reign of terror against me and my family is finally over. She flashes back to the first time he came back to Genoa City. You took your last breath knowing your vendetta against us was a failure. She rails about the years he abused her and so many others. Your life was a waste. Good riddance. Sharon, Maria, and Tessa walk into the main house, saying Aria will be fine with Faith. Nick tells them Victor was shot, but he's going to be Oak. Sharon gawps, what? How? Nick leads them into the room where Ian is lying on the gurney. Maria asks, is he? Nick tells them there was a struggle over a gun. Dad won. Chance spots them and is anxious to hear about Tessa's adventure. Sharon tells Mariah that Ian can never hurt them again. Maria says that will take a while to sink in. They're about to wheel Ian out when Sharon stops them to deliver a speech about how Heather Stevens didn't have to die. She had things to offer the world that were positive, unlike him. She tells Ian he is nothing, and if there is any justice in this world, then his pain has only just begun. Maria steps up and tells him that when she was a little girl, he was everything to her, her hero. She was always trying to get him to notice her and be nice to her. She flashes to a meeting with Ian after coming to Genoa City, in which he told her the world will see her as he sees her. He recalled the ways she changed his life. They were always a great team. Maria sobs, when I finally realized who you really were, when I finally tried to get away, you turned on me. You tortured me. She had nightmares for years that he would come back and ruin her life. She flashes to Sharon telling Mariah that a doctor stole her as a baby and Ian bought her. She was Cassie's twin. In the present, Maria marvels that Ian ever thought he could win her back. She knows it's finally over. That tie between them is gone. She has a life now. She has a wife and a baby, family and friends that she loves, and they love me. So I guess you didn't beat me after all. The paramedics wheel Ian out the door as Mariah sobs. Sharon says they'll go back to her place and asks Claire to join them. Once alone, Chance asks Nick, Adam, and Michael which one of them wants to go first and explain what happened there. In the ambulance, Nikki tells Victor it's hard to believe. First Jordan and then Ian, all in one night. Victor thinks the stars aligned in their favor. Nikki's not amused by his attempt at humor. He assures her he'll be all right, and there's nothing else to worry about. Nikki can't understand what he was thinking attacking an armed man who had just shot him. At Sharon's place, Claire is finishing up telling her and the others about Victor's battle with Ian. The paramedics said the bullet passed straight through. They all feel they owe him. Tessa asks how Jordan got involved. Maria and Claire fill her in on them teaming up. Sharon says Heather was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ian needed a victim to pin the crime on her. Maria knows he drugged her so she would do something so bad she'd be sent away forever. Tessa guesses then the way would be clear for him to get Maria. She can't believe she fell for his act. Maria assures her she's not the first person Ian has manipulated. That's what he does. Claire thinks this all happened because Ian and Jordan's really believed they were pursuing a noble goal in their minds. Being reunited with the girls they'd groomed since childhood was the way they thought the world should be. Maria and Claire hug Sharon as they say they survived. Sharon tells them they will both be stronger for it. At the ranch, Michael tells Chance that Ian showed up at the ranch because he was a nut job. He found out about Jordan and went crazy wanting revenge. Adam and Nick nod. It was a crazy night, and they were there to support the family. Michael says Ian managed to grab the security guard's gun and confessed to drugging Sharon and killing Heather. Chance is skeptical, but Michael thinks he was grieving and out for blood. Adam adds that he was about to kill all of them and make Nicky watch until his father stepped in. Chance says, he's trying to process their story. Michael argues it actually happened. Chance muses about two villains ending up dead on Newman property on the same night. It strains credibility just a little. Michael says they were working together and their plans converged. What about that isn't credible? Chance says they're both dead now. Adam says none of them would be standing there right now if Victor hadn't stepped in. Michael tells him Mortensen will back up their version of events. Do you have any reason to doubt what we've told you? At Sharon's place, Claire tells Maria they can go to bed tonight knowing Jordan and Ian can never hurt them again. They all agree it could have been a lot worse. Tess is so sorry for worrying Maria. The redhead says she has to believe that people like Ian and Jordan are the outliers in society. Sharon says they have to look to the future now. We have to focus on the healing. For me, that will be with Daniel and Lucy. It's the only way she knows how to bring some good from the darkness Ian brought to Genoa City. At the ranch, Chance will have to take their word for what happened, but he can't help but marvel at things always working out the way the Newmans need them to. He leaves, and Michael assures Adam and Nick there is no evidence to contradict what they've told him. In the ambulance, Nicky frets. What if that second bullet had hit you instead? Victor would rather die than have someone hurt her. That's what she was afraid of. Victor curses about Ian and Jordan and says they're no longer a problem. End of story. In another ambulance, Ian wakes up in the back and opens his eyes as the paramedics, both in front, drive toward the hospital. You know how they say women end up with men just like their fathers? Well, Claire had no father growing up. She only met Cole as an adult, but she also met Victor at the same time. And in a battle of forceful personality, Cole never stood a chance. Claire's first, and best, if he does say so himself, father figure was obviously Victor. We figured she went completely in the other direction with Kyle. Kyle is the anti-Victor. He is weak, incompetent, and whiny. But we didn't count on the one thing they had in common. They both want to control the women in their lives completely. This is why Kyle won't rest until Claire tells him absolutely everything about what happened with Jordan and Ian, so that Kyle can be there for her, whether she wants it or not. Daniel knew he didn't kill Heather. Phyllis convinced him that Sharon killed Heather. And well, then Sharon confessed. But then Sharon withdrew her story, and Phyllis went mental. Daniel was willing to entertain other theories. Now, he finally finds out what really happened to his partner. Chelsea allowed Connor to guilt her into moving in with him and Adam. She doesn't want him to feel sad if he doesn't always get his way, does she? No, she does not. So where should she put her stuff? At the Newman Ranch, Nicky and Victoria worked frantically to stop Victor's bleeding. Ian gasped in a corner, bleeding, and urged Nick to finish him off. Nick felt tempted but refused, unwilling to kill in cold blood. Adam and Michael debated how to handle the situation, with Michael suggesting they all tell the same story, self-defense. Victor had risked everything to save them. Claire told Victoria she was worried about Victor. Victoria reassured her daughter that he was tough. Claire wondered how people like Jordan and Ian became so twisted. Victoria didn't know, but she was happy that there were people like Victor in the world. As they fought for their lives, Victor and Ian continued to trade insults. Victor sarcastically asked how Ian was doing, and Ian weakly thanked him for asking. Then Ian took a deep breath and stopped breathing. When the cops and EMTs arrived, they placed Ian on a gurney and confirmed his death. Relieved, Nicky declared Ian's reign of terror over. As she stared at his lifeless body, she recalled his past return to town. Nicky said Ian's life had been a complete waste. Meanwhile, At Sharon's house, Maria panicked, convinced Ian had taken Tessa and Aria. Sharon tried to reassure her, but Maria wasn't calmed. Soon, Tessa and Aria arrived. Maria hugged them. Tessa explained she had taken Aria for a drive after their argument, but got stranded when her car lost power. Abby eventually found them and helped. Of course, Maria forgave her. They heard sirens and ran to the ranch. At the ranch, Nick told Sharon, Maria, and Tessa Ian had died. Seeing his body, Maria flashed back on her complicated history with him. At last, Maria felt she was free. Chance demanded an explanation for the situation. Michael, Nick, and Adam claimed Ian had shown up looking for blood. Chance was skeptical. Two enemies of the Newmans dying on the same night seemed suspicious. In the end, Chance had to accept their version of what happened. Back at Sharon's house, Claire told them what happened, and Tessa regretted ever believing Ian had changed. Sharon reassured her that he was a master at deception. She thought Ian and Jordan would suffer together for eternity. In the ambulance with Victor, Nikki admitted she had never been so terrified. Victor assured her they had survived and the danger was over. Victor wouldn't let him hurt her, which is why he attacked him. As Ian's body was being transported, he suddenly gasped and opened his eyes. The Young and the Restless spoilers for February 3 to 7 week bring Adam and Chelsea close. The man faces a near-death experience, which makes Chelsea realize her true feelings for him. Next, Kyle squeezes a confession from Claire, but she still has a lot to unload. Elsewhere, Sharon faces her past while Billy and Sally jet off to Paris. Finally, Damien arrives in Genoa City, but Amy may object. Why? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Adam's terrifying encounter with Ian Ward at the ranch leaves Chelsea shaken. The woman finally realizes how close she came to losing Adam and might decide it's time to move on together. Will they reunite and marry each other down the line? In the meantime, Claire continues feeling down from everything that has happened. Fortunately, Kyle Abbott steps in to lift her spirit, hoping she'll finally come clean about the whole Jordan chapter. How will she even begin to explain that she trapped her great aunt with poisoned tea? Claire's emotions are all over the place. She's worried sick about Victor Newman, who's still recovering from his own confrontation with Ian. Across Genoa City, Sharon Newman is struggling to forgive herself. She hopes Daniel Romalotti Jr. will eventually come around, but even if he does, Sharon may still struggle to let go of her guilt. In another twist, the search for Tessa Porter and baby Aria is still underway. But hey, Daniel won't let his friend stay hidden for long and do everything to prevent another tragedy. Meanwhile, Ian's fate remains uncertain, but that wound definitely looks fatal. Will he die? Next, Billy and Sally are doing business with a side of romance. The duo fly to Paris, and the trip will only make their love story stronger than ever. Finally, Nate Hastings is ready to welcome Damien home, but there's a catch. What if he isn't Damien at all? Amy Lewis is shocked that Damien looks nothing like his son. Imposter drama is incoming. The real juice. The Young and the Restless spoilers confirm that Lily's romantic life is currently as dry as the Sahara Desert. However, it is possible that a rather cool wind of change could blow in for our heroine very soon. And no, we are not talking about Nate's half-brother. Yes, we are aware of the speculations, but we have another very charming man on our mind, and he has dropped some hints. If you haven't guessed from the picture above, we are indeed talking about Kane, portrayed by actor Daniel Goddard. Recently, the former The Young and the Restless star posted a telling post on his Instagram account. The reel features him all decked up in a black suit, set to the tunes of Justin Timberlake's Suit and Tie. He wrote #NewBeginnings in the caption of the reel, perhaps hinting at a new role that he is filming for, or maybe an old role that he is reprising. A few days ago, Daniel Goddard also posted a video on his Instagram that showed him walking in the rain, and towards the end of the video, he revealed that he had a script in hand. Together, both the posts make it rather clear that Daniel is indeed filming something. However, he has not revealed any details about this role. But his I and our fans are still holding a torch for his return to the CBS Sudsur. We last saw him on the soapway back in 2019. At the time, he tried to convince Devon that he was a changed man. He was even willing to prove his claims by tracking down Colin and returning the money to the person Catherine had intended it to go to. However, his comeback back then was shorter than we were prepared for. Thus, understandably, fans were left wanting more, and they voiced in his comments section. "You are so ready to meet up with Lily," a fan teased. Meanwhile, another wondered if he was heading to the CBS studios I and R. It is clear that fans want to see Daniel as Kane on the Sudsur again. Moreover, they want to see him reunited with Lily. Honestly, we could get behind that ship quite easily. Cameron's latest stint was as a figment of Sharon's drug-addled imagination, so it's hard to see how or why he would ever make an appearance again. The man is dead, after all. That said, Lyndon Ashby is open to a young and restless return, perhaps as an entirely new character. Ashby's run as Cameron wrapped up just days ago when Sharon finally bid adieu to the version of him that she created in her mind to help her get through some incredibly traumatic experiences. While conjuring up the man she loathed, not to mention stabbed to death, seemed a curious choice, it all came to make a twisted kind of sense in the end. Of course, Cameron was the unflinchingly blunt apparition who coaxed Sharon into what turned out to be a bloodbath in Daniel's apartment, and got her deeper into trouble by coaching her through an ill-advised cover-up, not to mention framing Daniel, but it was also his strength and resolve she called upon to endure the situation. After it was revealed that she'd been dosed with PCP and wasn't the killer, it was Cameron she summoned once again when she was trapped in the sewer. This time, he helped her see the situation for what it was and pushed her to fight for her life. When all was said and done, Sharon said farewell to the blood-soaked and disheveled illusion in a surprisingly touching scene that included him giving her a kiss on the cheek. The takeaway? As Sharon was struggling through these dire circumstances and fighting for her family, freedom, and sanity, she was also, in a way, working through traumatic feelings left over from taking her abuser's life. What emerged from a viewer standpoint was a unique, although certainly bizarre relationship that we kinda loved. Due in large part to the chemistry between Ashby and Sharon Case, some fans even wished Cameron could return so they could become a pairing. While that would never happen for a couple of reasons, the man brutally beat and terrorized Sharon, and is as dead as a character can get on a soap opera. There is another possibility that could make an Ashby/Case on-screen reunion a reality. In speaking to Sode after his most recent departure from Young and Restless, Ashby reflected on one specific means that would allow him to return to the soap and give fans what they want. When asked if he considered himself lucky to have been brought back, he acknowledged, "Not a lot of people get that," before laughing, "And now I'll be, his brother." Could it actually happen? Teasingly, he added, "We'll see." While it would definitely be a stretch for Sharon to fall for someone who even looked like Cameron, it might be one we could take given the type of resolution she had with the version of him in her mind. It goes without saying that stranger things have happened on soaps. Of course, Cameron having a twin brother is all wishful thinking at this point, but there's nothing wrong with planting a seed of an idea with the Young and Restless writing team, right? That's it, the Young and Restless. After almost a week of Mariah freaking out because Ian is on the loose and Mariah can't get in touch with her wife and daughter, Tessa comes waltzing through Sharon's front door to announce that she was stuck on the road and she forgot her phone, and then Abby came along, and then Abby forgot her phone, and now all is well that ends well. Huh? Is this a soap opera? Or a run-of-the-mill misunderstanding that most couples have multiple times a week? Is it too much to hope that there's more to this story than Tess is telling Mariah or us? Stuck by the side of the road, huh? Forgot your phone, huh? Well, that's an excuse no one can double-check, isn't it? How convenient. What if Tessa was incommunicado because she was cheating on Mariah? Not because they just fought, but because this has been going on for weeks, months. It would be bad enough if Tessa cheated on Mariah with another woman. But what if it's with a man? That's certainly worth keeping secrets over. But what if it was something more sinister? Tessa expressed sympathy towards Ian, and she insisted to Mariah that the man may have changed. What if Tessa and Ian were in cahoots? What if Ian talked her into keeping Mariah distracted? Ian may have framed it as he was planning a surprise for Mariah, which would reunite him with his long-lost daughter, and Tessa bought it. Of course, Ian was really doing it so that Maria wouldn't get in the way of his revenge against the Newmans. Now that Tessa knows she's been played, her instinct will be to keep mum. That's not a good idea, but at least it's soapy. So far, this disappearance has totally not been. Sheila Carter has always been a force of destruction, leaving a trail of heartbreak and horror across the bold, and the beautiful, and the young, and the restless. But now, the next generation of Carter chaos could be brewing. All it would take is for her granddaughters to come face to face and get to know one another. With Finn emerging as the most likely contender for Luna's father, she'll soon officially join the ranks of Sheila's bloodline. And over in Genoa City, Sheila's other granddaughter, Lucy, is grieving the loss of the only mother she ever knew. She was raised as Heather's little girl, but that Daisy Carter blood is definitely there too. What would happen if these two granddaughters of anarchy crossed paths? With Lucy's troubled history and Luna's hidden dark side, this duo could wreak havoc in ways we can only begin to imagine. The she-devil may be their grandmother, but do these two young women share her thirst for destruction? Lucy has a history of being a rebellious teen, no doubt a result of the legacy her biological mother, Daisy, left behind. Though raised by Heather, Lucy's DNA is pure Carter, and with that comes an undeniable edge. Just look at the trouble she's caused already while drinking and getting into an accident. Oh, and trying to impress Faith by practically stalking her. That's some Sheila behavior. Meanwhile, Luna may have seemed sweet and innocent once upon a time, but we all saw what happened when she let loose. She lied, schemed, plotted, and even murdered 2 men in cold blood. Her willingness to take extreme action shows there's something much darker beneath the surface, something only Grammy Sheila could understand. Imagine these two finding common ground, bonding over their shared history and the infamous grandmother they both have in common. Would they embrace their Carter lineage and become a dynamic duo of destruction? Or would one try to pull the other back from the brink? We have a feeling that if they ever meet, Genoa City and Los Angeles better brace themselves. Tessa and Aria came home safe and sound on The Young and the Restless, and that's great news. It was also great news they weren't kidnapped by Ian Ward, and instead victims of a series of unfortunate events that started with Tessa trying to calm the baby, to being stuck on the side of the road, to be rescued by Abby. Everyone is celebrating. Well, almost everyone. As thrilled as we are that Tessa and her baby girl are okay, we can't shake the feeling that this storyline was a major missed opportunity. Where was the suspense, the high-stakes drama, the heart-pounding tension? I&R had the perfect setup to deliver a thrilling, edge-of-our-seat storyline, but instead took the easy way out. We live for those hold-your-breath moments where we don't know what's going to happen next, and this plot had all the ingredients to be a showstopper. Instead, it ended with a whimper rather than a bang. Just imagine if Ian had been behind Tessa's disappearance. With Ian shot and clinging to life and Aunt Jordan gone, this could have been the perfect way to carry on their dangerous and deranged legacies. If Mr. Ward had somehow orchestrated one last twisted scheme, The search for Tessa and Aria could have turned into a full-scale manhunt. Picture the suspense. Glimpses of Tessa desperately trying to protect her daughter, while Maria scoured every inch of Genoa City for them. Would Maria's tears and panic have shattered our hearts? Absolutely. But would we also have been on the edge of our seats, cheering as she fought tooth and nail to save her family? A resounding yes. Maria knows Ian Ward better than anyone, making her the perfect person to track down his hiding spots. This could have been a powerful, action-packed arc that put her love and determination on full display. Instead, we got a storyline that wrapped up far too neatly and far too fast. Sure, a happy ending is nice, but where's the fun in that when you're expecting high drama? This was a golden opportunity wasted, and we can only hope that next time I&R ups the ante. Give us the danger. Give us the suspense. Give us the shocking twists that leave us gasping at our screens. Because while we love a happy ending, we love a juicy, dramatic roller coaster ride even more. Daniel Goddard got suited up for a cryptic post on social media, and now fans are buzzing about what the young and the Restless alum is up to. Could he be stepping into a new role on another soap? Or is there a completely different twist to this mystery? Adding to the intrigue, Goddard recently shared a teaser about an exciting opportunity. So I got a phone call the other day from someone that I highly admire and respect, and they asked me if I could take a look at something, so here I am, walking in the rain. But the only problem is the script is getting wet. The million-dollar question now is, did he love what he read? And more importantly, does this mean he's gearing up for a return to our screens? Judging by his latest post, it sure looks that way. Goddard, looking every bit the polished leading man, filmed his latest social media update and captioned it "New Beginnings." Fans couldn't help but notice that his dapper ensemble closely resembled something his I&R character, Kane Ashby, would wear to the office. Could this be a subtle hint at a return to Genoa City? While no official word has been given, fans quickly picked up on an intriguing detail. Bold and the beautiful star Kimberlin Brown was the first to comment, writing, "Looking good." This led one eager follower to ask the big question: is Goddard about to join B&B as Luna's father? Right now, Finn is in the hot seat as the potential mystery dad. But what if the DNA results shock everyone, and instead, a new face enters the picture? Could Goddard's return to soaps involve stepping into the life of a daughter he never knew he had? Of course, Brown's comment could simply be a friendly nod rather than a casting clue. However, there's no doubt that something fresh and exciting is on the horizon for Goddard. Could he make a splash in Salem on Days of Our Lives, or perhaps find himself stirring up drama in Port Charles on General Hospital? It's worth noting that Goddard follows several key cast members from all 4 major soaps, keeping the door wide open for speculation. Then there's the possibility of something completely new. Could Goddard be gearing up for a role in the highly anticipated show, Beyond the Gates? Or perhaps the famed Aussie show Neighbours? The mystery deepens. For longtime Y&R fans, the burning question remains: could Kane Ashby be making his long-awaited return to Genoa City? The last time we saw him was in 2019, when he left town to track down his father and seek redemption. Since then, it's been radio silence. While rumors of a comeback have surfaced over the years, nothing has ever materialized, at least not yet. Lyndon Ashby reflected on his time on The Young and the Restless. He's played villain Cameron Kirsten since 2003. After Ashby departed the soap in 2004, he returned to cause more chaos. Sharon got her death wish when she drove a knife into Cameron's chest. Ashby reprised his role as Cameron in 2024. He was part of Sharon's imagination this time. Sharon said goodbye to Cameron on the Monday, January 27 episode. Ashby told Soap Opera Digest that he had a fun ride playing his alter ego one more time. He loved knowing that Cameron wasn't haunting Sharon from beyond the grave. He's actually her, you know? And those conversations where she's like, I hate you. It's like, well, yeah, I'm you. I'm just a voice in your head. I don't exist. I love that it was this pretty complex relationship with a lot of levels and colors. And then, when you really break it down, and you go, this is Sharon talking to herself, it becomes more and more interesting, Ashby explained. He was tickled by the idea. The actor had to figure out how to play Cameron this time around. He wasn't Cameron, he wasn't Cameron's personality, he was Sharon's idea of Cameron Kirsten, Ashby explained. Case was just as disappointed about Ashby's last day. She suggested that Cameron should be Sharon's imaginary friend. Cameron wore the infamous bloody shirt during his time on the show. Ashby admitted that he didn't get tired of wearing the shirt. He wore something similar during his time on MTV's Teen Wolf. The soap star also revealed that the shirt was clean, even though it didn't look that way. They dry cleaned it, sanitized it. It didn't smell, Ashby said with a laugh. He called it soft and mossy. He didn't shave or cut his hair after taking on this role. Since he's directing a Lifetime film, he doesn't feel the need to. Ashby compared this time to being a hockey player in the postseason. As the fallout from the night at the ranch continues, Adam has had an eye-opening experience about how short life can be and how it can all be taken away in an instant. When Victor asked him to come to the main house, he had just moved back onto the ranch with Chelsea and Connor. There, he and his entire family were in imminent danger of ending as Ian pointed a gun at all of them and promised to kill them one by one. On Friday, Chelsea takes a risk with Adam. Now that he is safe and back home, will Adam suggest to Chelsea that they stop wasting time avoiding the inevitable and just get back together and enjoy life together while they have it? And would Chelsea agree? Now that they know the truth about what really happened the night Heather was murdered, Sharon wants to tell Daniel and Lucy so they can stop wondering. She thinks it's the right thing to do to help them heal. She even told Ian that as they removed his body from the ranch, she would make something good come out of what he had done. On Friday, Sharon has the opportunity to do that. She tells Daniel the truth about how Ian murdered Heather and why. Once Daniel understands the entire story, which dates back to Cassie's birth as she and Mariah were twins, will Daniel be able to finally fully forgive Sharon? Will hearing the details of who murdered Heather and why be what he needs to heal? As word spreads of the events overnight, Kyle comforts Claire. But there are parts of the story that won't make sense unless she tells him everything. On Friday, Kyle pushes Claire to come clean. Will she admit it was her idea to kill Jordan and that she was the one who poisoned her tea? Will Kyle see her differently now that she's not as angelic as he thought? Meanwhile, Ian is still alive. He is headed to the same hospital as Nikki and Victor. Will he be left for dead in the morgue, only to be discovered his corpse is gone? If he escapes, no one is safe. It was snowing outside the ranch house as Adam opened the door to look for the ambulance. Inside, Nikki encouraged Victor to stay awake as they waited and tried to stop the bleeding. Ian asked Nick to finish him off, but he didn't believe in killing people in cold blood. Nick was fine with watching him die painfully, though, considering what Ian had done to people he cared about. Adam asked Michael what they should tell the police. Michael suggested they say that Ian somehow got a hold of a security guard's gun and threatened to kill the whole family, tried to take a shot at Nikki, and Victor stepped in to take the bullet. And after that, even though he was badly wounded, Dad wrestles Ward, gets the gun, it goes off in the struggle, and Ian goes down, Adam added. They both agreed that it was self-defense. And Dad saves the day. That's our story, Adam concluded. It's not a story, it's the truth, Michael said. He told Adam that Victor never ceased to amaze him. With everything at risk, Victor put it all on the line for the family, Michael added. Near the atrium, Victoria and Claire were worried about Victor, but knew he was extremely tough. Claire wondered how people like Jordan and Ian had no qualms about hurting people. Victor asked Ian how he was doing. Not so good. Thanks for asking, Ian moaned. You thought you were going to kill me. You son of a bitch will rot in hell, Victor told him. Of that, I have no doubt, Ian retorted. At Sharon's, Maria flashed back to her fight with Tessa and how it was their last conversation. She told Sharon the sun was coming up, and Tessa and Aria were gone for hours. Knowing Tessa as well as she did, Maria didn't think she would leave with the baby and let her worry. Maria was sure Ian had them, but Sharon thought maybe Tessa was just blowing off some steam. Sharon tried to settle Maria down, but she stopped her and said it was time to face the reality that lunatic had taken her family. Sharon told her that the worst-case scenario was that Ian took them and was holding them somewhere. Sharon reminded her that it wouldn't serve Ian's purpose to gain her sympathy if he hurt them. Maria admitted she told Ian she wanted him to die and probably gave up hope for forgiveness with her, so he probably hurt them. Maria said she was living proof that Ian was capable of hurting a child. Maria thought if anything happened to them, she couldn't bear it. Someone knocked on Sharon's door, and they wondered who could be there that early. They thought it could be the police, but Maria knew that meant bad news. Sharon opened the door and was shocked to see Tessa and Aria. Maria rushed to hug her and tell her she was sorry. Sharon said she would call the police and tell them Tessa and Aria were fine. Tessa was shocked she had reported them missing but understood. She asked Sharon when she came back. Sharon said she was fine and would explain later, but they asked if Ian was involved. Tessa told her that Ian had nothing to do with it. Tessa apologized for asking Maria to forgive Ian and for stressing her out even more. Tessa said it was hard to put into words, but things went wrong repeatedly all night. Tessa explained that when she got home after their argument, Aria woke up and was upset, so she took her for a drive to calm her down. Since Tessa's mind was elsewhere when she left, she didn't check to ensure it was charged, so it slowed down and ran out of juice. Tessa pulled over to the side of the road, and her phone was dead. By then, she didn't know where she was and had no way to call her. It gave me time to figure out what an idiot I had been, and that's what I was going to say when I got home. I'm so sorry, Tessa said and hugged Maria. Tessa explained that she had no choice but to wait in the car and was just about to fall asleep when there was a knock on the window, and it was Abby. She had driven by and recognized her car, so she drove her home. And you know what makes this night even crazier? She had left her phone at Society, so I still had no way to contact you and tell you I was okay, Tessa said. Maria told her wife that she hoped they never had another night like that one. They heard police sirens approaching and wondered what was going on. Maria told Tessa that a lot had happened overnight, and she needed to catch her up on it. At the main house, Chance came into the living room, and Ian was on the stretcher. He didn't make it, Chance confirmed. Thank God, Nikki sighed. Chance hoped there was a really good explanation for what happened. Adam was more concerned about Victor getting to the hospital. The EMT said he was lucky that the bullet went right through him, but a few inches up would have been a different story. She asked for another gurney, but Victor insisted on walking. He paused by Michael on the way out and asked him to stay and answer Chance's questions. Victor thanked Michael for staying when he had the opportunity to leave earlier and said he'd never forget it. The room cleared as everyone walked with Victor outside to the ambulance. Nikki walked to Ian's body, lying on a stretcher. She told him that his reign of terror was finally over. She recalled in flashbacks moments with him. She told him he took his last breath, knowing his vendetta was a failure and his life was a waste. Good riddance, Nikki snapped before walking away. Sharon, Maria, and Tessa came to the main house. Claire and Nick told them that Victor was shot, but he would be okay. He showed them Ian lying on a stretcher. Chance was glad to see Tessa was okay. Maria stared at Ian's body as Sharon told her that they could never hurt them again. She stopped the paramedics from taking Ian and told him off for killing Heather. I will do whatever I can to atone for what I did, but you will get nothing because you're nothing, Sharon told Ian. Maria came over and told Ian that when she was a little girl, he was her hero, and she was always trying to do stuff so he would be nice to her. Maria had a flashback to a conversation with Ian years ago when he was complimenting her and talking about when she was a baby. Back then, she thought he was the only one she could trust, but when she tried to get away, he turned on her and tortured her. She told him it caused her to have nightmares and worry he would come back and try to ruin her life. She recalled how she found out that he stole her at birth and how devastated she was. She told him the tie between them was gone, and she had a life now. "So I guess you didn't beat me after all," Mariah concluded before they took him away. Sharon took Mariah, Tessa, and Claire back to her place. Chance asked who wanted to go first to tell them what happened. Michael, Adam, and Nick pieced together their version of what happened, leaving out that they brought Ian to the ranch. They blamed Ian's behavior on grief and shock of losing the woman he loved. Chance asked if they knew what it looked like for two sworn enemies of the Newman family, both winding up dead on the property on the same night. He said it strained credibility to imagine it all went down exactly how they said it did. Ian and Jordan were working together. Their targets were all here, Michael said. Adam firmly told Chance that none of them would be standing there if not for Victor, and Michael backed him up. Nick said when he ran the prints on the gun, he would find 4 sets: Mortensen, Nick, Victor, and Ian. Chance said he would have more questions for all of them, including Mortensen. Michael asked if Chance had any reason to doubt what they told him. Chance said he didn't and had a sneaking suspicion everyone else who was there would corroborate their story. "It's because it's the truth," Nick told him. Chance couldn't help but marvel at how everything always seemed to work out exactly the way the Newmans wanted them to. After Chance left, Adam wondered if he would turn it into an issue. Michael said there was no evidence to dispute what they just told him about Ian. Nick said their story about Jordan was close enough to the truth and that it would have to do. Nikki was with Victor in the ambulance. She was very upset, but Victor told her everything would be okay and tried to make light of it to make her feel better. Nikki admonished Victor for being unarmed and attacking a man with a gun. "What the hell were you thinking?" she asked. At Sharon's, Claire told Sharon, Tessa, and Mariah what happened. She assured them that Victor would be okay. "I owe him big time for this," Maria said. They updated Tessa about Jordan and their plan against Mariah and Claire. Sharon said Heather was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Tessa realized that she encouraged Mariah to forgive Ian and had fallen for his changed man act. Maria said that she believed Ian for a very long time and understood the irony of those two psychopaths finding each other, Maria noted. Sharon told Claire and Mariah they would both be stronger for surviving Jordan and Ian. Tessa promised she'd never make the same mistakes again. Maria said Tessa had a good heart and needed to believe in those people. Sharon said they needed to focus on the healing of the damage they did. "For me, that's with Daniel and Lucy," Sharon told them, insisting she had to make something good happen out of all of it. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, January 31, 2025 are here. In tomorrow's episode, Chelsea Lawson takes a big risk. Daniel Rumalotti Jr. makes a shocking discovery. Plus, Kyle Abbott grills Claire Grace Newman. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Claire Grace Newman interrogated. Lee and R spoilers for Friday, January 31 reveal that Kyle will have heard about all the chaos at the Newman Ranch. Kyle will reach out to make sure Claire is okay. While Claire will probably give Kyle the cover story, he might sense that she's not being totally honest. Kyle might remind Claire that if they are going to have a relationship, then they need total honesty. So Claire might give in and tell Kyle how she tricked Jordan into a trap. Lie and R spoilers, Kyle Abbott's romance. Kyle might act like he's just relieved Jordan is gone and everyone is safe. However, Kyle could have some issues with Claire being bold enough to lure Jordan into a trap. It could make Kyle wonder if that dark side of Claire could emerge again, and under what circumstances. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, January 31 reveal that Chelsea will take a big risk. Chelsea has agreed to move in with Adam Newman for their son, Connor Newman. However, they are not a couple again. So living together as roommates and co-parents, but not as a couple, might be a bit trickier than Adam thinks. Of course, once Chelsea learns about Ian Ward and Adam's close call, she could let passion take over. In tomorrow's episode, fans can also expect Daniel to make a shocking discovery. Daniel will learn about Jordan's death as well as Ian's showdown with Victor Newman. Daniel will also find out that Heather Stevens was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It might take Daniel a while to process all of the twists and turns. Meanwhile, what is Ian's fate? While Ian seemed dead at the Newman Ranch, he opened his eyes in the ambulance. So, will the EMTs open the ambulance door to find the dead patient is gone? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.